Thanks, Tracy, for being here. I'm going to bow out.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Okay, Tracy.
Okay.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Great to have you. So like I told the guys, I planned for crude to be at an indecisive place for you to be here. So, you know, we have this pullback in crude. So now we know that you're still constructive long term.
Yeah.
I pulled up the chart here. This is the daily on WTI. You think we could see crude print under 50?
Dale, we just see your
I can't see your
Skype.
screen.
Yeah.
New share. Okay. How about now?
Yes.
There you
now
go.
I can.
Okay. All right, Trace. So, you know, we had that, had a little divergence up there. First of all, let me validate that you were very constructive from, 20 lower or so, and switched your stance on the crude before the major rally really, or at the beginning stages of this huge rally that we had. Do you think we could see prints back under 50?
I think that they're going to buy anything below 60, right? So if you start getting into like 52, you'll probably see a lot of buyers show up around that 52, 50.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to let it get much lower than that.
Who's they?
Who's they? My OPEC theory. When I said the market didn't stop rallying after OPEC said, go ahead, make my day, try to short this market.
Yeah.
So that's my conspiracy theory day. But yeah, I mean, I'm still constructive long over long term, but my time horizon is probably a lot longer than most people's.
Okay.
I'm looking, another, the next like 3 years out.
3 years out. Wow. That's almost makes you like a Nostradamus.
So for me, I'm a buyer on pullback. So again, this is a very welcome relief. Oil got a little too ahead of itself. But over the long term, even with ags, I see, agriculture, the play over the long term as well.
Oh yeah, okay. So you're broadening out your commodity theme to grains now.
Right, but I'm not actually trading grains.
Okay.
I'm in fertilizers and farm equipment and equities.
Okay.
On the equities.
Okay. All right. So fertilizer also takes oil, right? Besides a lot of these chemical. I mean, some of them are oil based, right?
So they're chemical based, right? Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. There's corn.
Yeah, I mean, corn's.
Yeah, there's wheat. And here's beans into teens. Remember, Trace, that used to be a big, used to be a big war cry on the CBOT floor.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So you're still a bull, and
I'm still a bull, and I'm a buyer on pullbacks. I could definitely see, a pullback to 52, 50, that 50, 52 area.
Okay.
But we'll, have to see here.
Is a strong dollar part of the equation? I know that long term, you're a dollar bull. And
I think that, the dollar move is important. Really, what I think right now is the bond market is moving everything right now.
Okay,
I think that's literally the driver for most commodities, except for ags right now. And I think that's moving the equity markets as well. Obviously we're starting to see a bounce here. And the thing is the boat is so overloaded short, right? That, we could see a fast and furious move up in bonds, which would definitely spook, equities and oil, very much so, because
kind of a little whiff of deflation.
Oil's an inflation hedge, right? So if bonds move up, then people are going to have to start removing their inflation hedges. And that's oil right now.
Okay. So actually, we've already had a little turn in the TLT, which is a proxy for 20-year bonds. There's an auction today, but as you can see, we did not confirm the last low. And this has been one heck of a move. I mean, it's one of the only markets, Tracy, that took out the COVID crash low.
Yeah.
And, so, the Fed was more successful in holding up corporates and junk bonds than their own market, the treasuries. Any
Right.
comment on that? Why treasuries are weaker than corporates and junk bonds?
I just think it's I think it's a function of yields and whatnot. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not, the auctions have been okay, not that great. We have a 7-year auction today, which 7 years is a very hard auction anyway. So I think the
Who's
market
buying them? Who's buying them?
I think
China's not buying them. Who's buying them?
China's still buying. If you go to
Oh.
the Fed's website, and you see they've actually been steadily increasing their purchases over the last 6 months or so. So they are still buying, contrary to what everybody says on Twitter. You can literally go to the government's website and it has it right there.
That's interesting because, I was talking to Harold earlier in the week, and he said that the Chinese are buying the JGBs.
They could be buying a lot more of those. I mean, I haven't checked that market, but they are still buying U.S. Treasuries. They're not.
All right, so that's a fallacy that people are saying that the China's
that they're
not
dumping
buyer.
them. No, and then perhaps they're not buying to what they used to be buying, but I mean they're not dumping them. They're still purchasing them, even if it's in smaller amounts.
All right, long term, you've been, a euro bear. Here's the euro. What are you thinking here after this pullback here?
I don't understand why the euro's this high, really, looking at Europe, but but anyway, I mean, I guess we could go to I don't know, that kind of looks like it could be head and shoulder-y forming.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as the US dollar, I flip it to the US dollar side.
Sure.
As far as the US dollar is concerned, I don't think that we're going to get that high. I think we may slip up into that 93, 95 area, kind of where we traded a lot. If you look left, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that the difference with bonds than the dollar is that people have leveraged funds have now switched long the dollar. So you don't have everybody short. So you're not going to have that. You don't have that risk of a big short squeeze, right?
Okay.
I think, and I don't think they're going to let the dollar get too high, but Yellen has been saying, I want a stronger dollar. So it's not.
Why does she want a stronger dollar? Doesn't help our trade balance at all. So you have no idea why she wants one?
No, but she keeps saying it. So I think that's a lot of reason that we've seen some of these funds kind of switch their positioning, right?
Okay, so this is based on the COT, a lot of the because we had, didn't we have like record shorts in?
We had record shorts. Now we have leveraged funds are leaning long.
Okay, well, they could be right for a while. They were right for a while on the way down. Why can't they be right for a while on the way up? Right? Okay, so anything else that's on your radar that you want to talk about? We've talked about yields, and you really, that one of your quotes, I remember one tweet when gold was getting hammered, and your comment was, it's all about yields. So you even take yields into account when you're, commodities. I remember when we were having crop problems, it didn't matter what yields did.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different for ags, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the ag market is kind of acting differently than most other commodities are right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at gold to me right now is, a bounce in bonds will certainly help, but it's kind of stuck.
Yeah, it's, we've been moving lower for a while. You think we could, we had this recent low here around 1680, but compared to silver, Tracy, it's holding up pretty well. There's silver,
right.
There's gold. So silver being more of an industrial. Any reason why gold might be holding up better than silver in your mind?
Well, I think it's a different kind of, I mean, they're both precious, but because silver has more commercial uses, it's often lumped into that same kind of category. And, we're seeing a pullback in copper, we're seeing a pullback in iron ore, so a lot of those metals right now, we're seeing a pullback. So it doesn't really surprise me that silver's probably not hanging in there as well as gold is.
Yeah, well, I was talking about when everyone was finally embracing the reflation trade, it paused.
Right.
In all of these markets. I mean, people were finally buying. Yeah, we're reflating. Commodities are great, and and then the corrective process began. So, any idea as far as timing for corrections in these different markets, oil and gold, and maybe even the ags pull back a little bit? Like a 2-month, 3-month type of breather.
Yeah, I mean, typically, for oil, if we look at seasonality, typically we see pullbacks in, March, February, March, or March, April, right? And then when we start hitting summer driving season, right, and demand picks up, et cetera, then we start seeing, a bounce in crude oil and products. So I think that will be the same, especially with especially if we're going to start seeing Europe opening up again, right? In May, June, supposedly.
Hopefully, yes.
But
Are you gonna take the vaccine?
So I'll keep that personal.
Okay. When I did and I got my second shot, I asked if it would inoculate me from losses. And she didn't know what I was talking about. Anyway, so there is something called a February break that was kind of like a theme in commodities. Am I remembering it correctly? We used to call it a Feb break. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I mean, we used to see a pullback. I mean, this year is kind of like seasonality is kind of all messed up because of last year, obviously. But yeah, I mean, we used to see, that's what I mean. We used to see that pullback. Like I said, it would either be like starting, mid-Feb to mid-March. Now that's kind of moved up a little bit because they started moving maintenance season, right? So maintenance season used to start in February. Now it's kind of starting in March and heavier in April. So that's kind of where we're seeing when we are seeing the pullbacks in crude oil.
Okay, so this is a little bit out of your bailiwick, but what do you think to yourself? Because I know you're a veteran, a market veteran. You've seen several cycles in your career. What do you think when you see cryptos blowing off, becoming parabolic, and things like SPACs and NFTs? People paying $1 million for digital art and spending that kind of money for tweets.
69
didn't someone buy
hat or something?
Yeah, didn't someone buy your first tweet on Twitter for $1 million, Trace?
Not, I wish.
Anyway, I mean, what kind of have you ever seen an environment? Does this remind you of anything?
I mean, it reminds me of any other kind of blow off that we've had, right? I mean, we've seen this in crypto before when we, not to this extent, but we saw it in 2017, right?
Yeah.
And then we had a big pullback. I don't trade crypto, so it's not really my market, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of pullback there, as well as we're seeing pullbacks in some of the other markets, right?
Okay.
I'm hesitating to call it a commodity because I understand it's money too, but it does kind of follow the commodities markets a bit.
Okay. What do you think of the S&Ps here? Just a quick think on that.
Is that the daily? Yeah, I was just looking at that this morning intensely. I think, we kind of need to hold here.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Or around here to make the next move up. Like that RSI divergence is kind of has me spooked a little bit.
Okay, I want to show your website and ask you how things are going with hedge fund telemetry. Okay, so this is where you could find Tracy's work. How's it going, Tracy?
So good. So I cover energy and materials now. So not just energy. So I also cover, all materials, which includes metals, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. All right. Is there, how do people try
So,
it? Is there
yeah, you can, there's a 2-week trial you can sign up for. If you just go to subscribe, and then at the bottom there's, let's see, if you go to subscribe, that's, and go to my page.
okay.
There you go.
are.
Sign up now, and then there should be a 2-week trial on the bottom.
Okay. I think I'm going to take it.
It does.
I think I'm going to. It seems that we cannot find what searching help. Okay, it must be my computer. Anyway, I just want to thank you for being here. So we should be looking for the low 50s in crude to sum it up.
So, I mean, you know, if we don't, if something, you know, I can't guarantee that, but
No,
you
you
know.
can't guarantee anything except anything and everything can happen.
But exactly, I mean, anything can happen. You know, it's crude oil. Anything can happen tomorrow, and you know,
Right. Right.
who knows? So, but you know, definitely, you know, I would say I'm a buyer on dips, and you know, in the 50s, certainly.
Okay. And do you think there's going to be any political dynamic that might change with the new administration and Biden in there rather than President Trump, with, you know, either Saudi Arabia or what's going on in the Middle East?
Well,
Any
yeah, I mean,
comment on, you know, he's been pretty um, you know, sharp in his criticism of, you know, adversarial relationships, except he did not go all the way with the Saudi prince. He just put out the article, but, you know,
right.
no sanctions or anything. You think that's a sign that,
Well, I think there's definitely going to be a different dynamic, a different relationship, you know, with Saudi Arabia, with Israel.
okay,
You know, I think it's going to be a little bit of
more contentious?
yeah, a little bit colder. But obviously, they're, you know, they're our allies, and you know, we'll be happy to
Yeah.
supply them with weapons. So
Yeah, right. We'll sell weapons. So probably no chance of the Saudis in any way or shape or form trying to accept payments in anything but the dollar. Do
well,
you think
yeah, I mean, they're not going to change the you know, the what sell it
petrocurrency?
in, right? They're going to
Yeah.
sell it in dollar, even if, and even if they're paid in another currency, they automatically turn that over and put it, you know, transfer it to dollars anyway. So, you know, they're not going to stop selling oil in USD.
Tracy, thank you so much for coming in here and talking about all these different markets. Anything you want to wrap it with?
No, that's, I think
Okay.
that's good.
Where do you have any targets? I know long term you like gold. Would you like to buy it say around 1600 or so? Would you start nibbling at gold?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Oh,
think that would be a
would you
great,
back up the truck or your
I
race
would,
car?
I wouldn't back up the truck, but I would definitely start. I mean, I already hold some gold, right? But
Yeah.
if we started taking a dip, I would definitely add to that.
Okay. I just got a little notice from Charlie Gasparino that the White House is now talking about a $3 trillion bill probably for infrastructure. A
Right. And
trillion.
if that passes, sign up for my get you in.
Okay.
I'll get you in the materials sector. No,
All right.
if that passes, and I read it before, you know, I would start looking at materials like you know, big equipment like cat.
Yeah.
Oil's going to take off because we need asphalt.
Right.
You're going to need a lot of steel. So that would definitely give the commodities markets a boost in the U.S. for certain.
Okay, back to the 70s with Tracy Shuchart. That's what it reminds me of. I know you're not that old, but I was on the floor then. And, you know, anything that you dropped and it hurt when it hit your foot, you wanted to buy it. So thanks very much, Trace. We'll
Thank
get
you.
together in a few months. I'll try and time it for another inflection point in oil. Okay.
Right? Use the
All
good
right.
skills.
All right, everyone.
Thank you.
Tracy Shuchart, could follow her at Chigirl at CHIGRL. And that's a wrap for today. Everyone have a great day trading. Remember, don't just count your barrels or your dollars or your Krugerrands. Count your blessings, and we'll see you all tomorrow. and you could join the team for Morning Edge in about 20 minutes. So thank you, everyone. Thanks again, Trace.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everybody.